Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the You Flourish podcast. Today, I am joined by Peter Contreras. I think I said that right. I told him I was going to maybe mess it up, but I think I got it right. I'm just excited to be joined by him today because he has such an amazing story of how he got to where he is and um, how he really just super passionate about so many different things. Um, so, Peter, why don't we just jump right in and why don't you just share more about you, who you are, where you work, all the things we need to know?
Sure. Thanks, Grace. And thanks for inviting me to this talk. I know I found out about you through Ryan Botner. He was my coach. I took about 10 lessons or so from him a couple of months ago, and he's really big on praising the Lord and making sure everyone, you know, advances and learns all they need to know, but in the right way.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to learn from him and from you and spread the good things around. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, yeah. So tell us more about you. What do you do and all the things?
Yeah, sure. I was born in New Jersey. My family's from Colombia. My parents were born there. Was raised half there, half here, in grade school, but mainly been in Houston since my senior year in high school. And was into engineering. I got into mechanical engineering design, but as most of us move on to IT, I've been doing project management in the IT side of things, but I'm into sports. I'm into lots of things, and so recently, with the experience I've had working overseas, working here, about I don't want to date myself, maybe 25 years or so. I've kind of gathered some lessons, and I want to share that with people. And speaking is, I think, the best way to do that, and it's the
Mhm.
thing that I wish I would have had when I was starting off. And now that I have small kids, I want to pass that along to them after I receive some coaching on how to speak from authenticity. And
Mm.
and if I would have had that chance, I would have liked somebody to tell me about that and get more opportunities from that. So I'm now
Mhm.
passing that along. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so I want to dive more into your journey with speaking. So to give everyone listening a little more clarity, Peter has been getting coaching and learning more about public speaking. And he has just grown this huge passion for it because, like he said, it's so important to be able to get our thoughts across in a really clear and concise way. And there's so many things that our voices can do and we can share with people. So, why don't you tell us more about your journey with public speaking and why you're so passionate about this?
Yeah, sure. So I think it's a fear that most people have. I think it's been said, it's you fear public speaking more than death itself.
Mm,
And so for any of you out there that experience, if you're in front of a group, your heart starts racing, your palms start sweating, your voice starts trembling, or you just freeze, uh, you're in the majority. And so I had that with me since maybe being the odd kid in Colombia from America, and not being, kind of like the other kids. And then some couple of incidents, growing up, you get um, things happen to you for whatever reason. I started retreating and kind of walking on eggshells, making sure I wouldn't upset anybody, and that transcended into speaking in groups, to where it was kind of almost painful. And it went through college and into my first years professionally, and I even probably lost some opportunities there to for promotion because of this. But yeah, I got coaching from this lady. She is or was an actress. She still coaches, this method of grounding yourself. So it's all about realizing that people are not there to put you down, but to support you. And it was a 3-day course, and in front of a small group of 5 people. And it really turned the page for me. It was just literally facing your fears. We would just stand there taking turns and just looking at each other in the eye, and realizing after getting over the hump of those nerves, you start to calm down, and you realize people are really supporting you. You feel that energy. It's almost like love that's all around us. We just have to be open to it and not shy away from. So after that, I realized, hey, this is really good. This really feels good. Her class that she taught when she was started out in the 90s, she had a group of actors. She started coaching actors to get rid of stage fright. And that exercise of just looking people in the eye without saying anything, they did it over and over again. And they started saying, hey, wait a second. After being nervous the first few times, they started saying, a couple of them, hey, give me some more minutes here. This feels good. This feels awesome. You feel the love, and you feel the kind of an energy that starts to flow. So they call it being in the flow, being in the present. And that got to me. I got hooked on that, and I raced right away after that coaching session straight to Toastmasters, where you get to practice that on a regular basis, weekly basis. They don't teach you this method and this meditation that she taught me, but it's a good place to go and practice. I couldn't even get there before having this coaching. So it's something that really turned the page, and I wanted more of it. So I've started lecturing in church, Catholic church, and I started speaking about communication and this journey, and also about project management, what I've been doing the last few years, to share lessons and just to get more opportunities out there to speak. Even with the neighborhood that I'm in, helping them to talk to city council of some noise pollution. Even if it wasn't affecting me, I was helping my community out. So a lot of things, the world opens up to you when you learn how to speak from authenticity, without any fear, without any inspiration. So I really want to share that. It's something that, it levels the playing field. And I'm kind of want to maybe aim at the kids, the kids out there that are maybe underprivileged. If that's the leveler right there, to get into the workforce and start advancing. Speaking is the biggest thing. It goes, across industries, across social boundaries. If kids can learn that, they can do whatever their heart desires.
Yeah, I think it's so crazy that there is that statistic that people would rather die than speak in front of people. And I think it's just so interesting to think about the fact that we all have so much to say, right? But our fear of getting up in front of people, like you mentioned, the city council meetings, or like board members or things like that, things that we actually care about, but we're allowing our fear of sharing and just simply speaking get in the way of us making the changes in our lives and potentially in the lives of everyone around us. You also mentioned that you had the chance to start lecturing at church and speaking at church. And I think a lot of us want to do that, but maybe we're afraid. We always go to the, oh my gosh, what if this happens mentality, instead of going to this could be the best thing, and is God calling me to do this? But we allow our fear to get in the way. So I would love to hear your advice on this. I mean, what are your just maybe top 3 pieces of advice that you would give anyone right now that struggles with severe anxiety or fear around performing or speaking in front of others? Like, what are your top 3 that you go to?
All right. I love the top 3, but if you can only get one, I would say, maybe I'll have a couple more. But the main thing is being in the present moment, learning how to be present. That's where, because when we get that fear, we're up in our heads, our energy is all in our heads. We're thinking about what ifs, we're thinking about what could happen, what would they say about me? And we're not in the present moment. So there's a meditation that this call is too short, but I can, later, if you guys want to look it up, where you ground yourself. So you take the energy that's up in your head and maybe higher, and you kind of bring that energy down physically. You imagine it going down through your neck, through your chest, torso, feet, and you kind of shoot down into the ground like roots, and you ground yourself. There's probably other methods out there, but this one was, hit the nail on the head for me. And so, and then you realize, you start to feel your heart kind of level out, and you feel more clear, and you can think better. There's no nervous energy that you can. Nerves are good, but when they overwhelm you, that's when you have to get back down to where you're in the present moment, and you can think clearly after that. That's the top one. I mean, after that, there was another exercise, just kind of learn to receive the love, the support from others, and kind of, when you look them as a whole. Don't focus on just on one eye or on their lips, or don't have that beady-eyed look, because that's a look of you're judging, maybe a judgmental look, but try to unfocus. You're kind of like a camera is out of focus. Try to look at the person or the group in a more of a whole way, like, and that kind of is more of a look of acceptance, of love. You feel you're looking at their presence, not at their what they physically look like. And then you start to get the same reaction from people. If you ever want to try that, and you're up on stage or you're in a group, just use that more of a relaxed, inviting look. And then I guess the third would be practice this. Go out and go to your Toastmasters, go to your church meetings, or wherever it is that you can find a way of speaking in public. And it's specifically speaking on stage, because it's probably easy for people to speak with your friends or work group in an informal way, but speaking on stage where the spotlight is on you, that's where it's harder to be authentic and be relaxed, and that's where more of the opportunity is going to come from, is being in the spotlight. So practice.
Yeah, I love that. And I think you said something earlier. You said people are not there to put you down, but they're there to support you. That's something, me personally, I mean, when I'm speaking in front of people all the time, and I just try to remind myself that no one wants to see you fail. Everyone in the crowd or wherever you're at wants to see you succeed. And so I think that brings a lot of comfort to me, especially. And another thing that I have done in the past when it comes to speaking, Kelsey and I, before we go on stage, we typically say a prayer, and that's why I love the meditation that you mentioned about just grounding ourselves and remembering that we're grounded in God, and He is asking Him to help us be present in the moment. I think that was just a beautiful. I think, like you said, there's a lot of other meditations or physical things that we can do to help us be present and grounded. But that was a really good example.
Can I add one quick one?
Yes.
The more practice you do, the faster it is for you to ground yourself, this meditation. Because you don't have 10, 15 minutes. If somebody talks to you or somebody points you out in the crowd and say, hey, what do you think? I learned just the other day also, if you take one thumb and you just press it against the palm of your hand like this, that almost in a painful way kind of brings you present in the moment and you get away from those feelings of what ifs, and it starts you back in the present. If you need it, a quick grounding, it'll help you calm down as well.
Yeah, I love that. Well, when it comes to speaking in front of others or a large group, and I know you're just starting on this journey of, getting comfortable with this and sharing the things you want to share, but how have you taught yourself or learned, or how have you found, or I guess what I really want to ask is, how do you try to show the Lord and his works through yourself and through when you're speaking to the people in the crowd who maybe don't have faith or don't know God? How do you show him through what you're doing?
Yeah, just the authenticity and showing people that, we all fundamentally want to support each other, and we can act in a way, we can treat others as we'd like to be treated. So that's kind of the way I approach it. That's what Jesus wanted us to do, was to treat each other with respect, with kindness, with love. And you're actually not speaking about it, you're actually doing it when you speak with authenticity. I've heard it's an obligation for us to, if we have these gifts, to share them with others. And so, if you don't share that, if you don't share the love, then you're almost doing a disservice to others and to yourself as well. Maybe I can share, a favorite scripture here that I like to think about, and it's helped people in the past, and it's good to share those experiences that people have, real life experiences based on faith, and hopefully that kind of hits people the right way, and they realize the good.
Yeah, no, I'd love to hear that scripture, and I just want to touch quick on what you said too, is if we don't live out our purpose for our lives, or if we don't share what's on our hearts, or share the things that we feel called to share with others because of fear, or because we feel as though we're nervous, or that people maybe will judge us, we're actually doing a disservice to others. And like Peter mentioned, it's so important that we share what's on our hearts, because obviously it's on our heart for a reason. And I truly believe that God is working in all of us, and he puts the things on our hearts that he wants us to share. And so by us, not going out and speaking about it, and whether it's to one person or to a crowd, we're really not living out our purpose that God has created for our lives. So definitely agree with you, Peter, and everything you just said. And I would love to hear more about what you think about that, and then also your favorite Bible verse and how this all ties in together.
Sure. You said you wanted to hear a Bible verse or verse?
Yeah, if you have your Bible verse, I think if it resonates and plays in with this, I'd love to hear.
Yeah, sure. It's from, and I'm not a big Bible person. I think I should be more. I have a small book that gives you verses for the different ways you feel. But this one, I got it from social media. Somebody had posted it. And I'll tell you the story in a minute. It's Proverbs 3, verses 5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight. So what that means is we're not in control here. I mean, we think we are. We help ourselves by getting the right coaching, the right training, education, but a lot of different things happen to us that weren't planning for, and we just have to surrender to God and realize that He's in control. He's giving us challenges, and He's giving us opportunities that we probably don't even realize. So, and I believe that's where a lot of anxiety comes from people, not just fear of public speaking, but I think most anxieties is that we're trying to control things, and we're in fear or anxious that we're not doing enough, or or we're doing things to ourselves. And if you just learn to trust in the Lord and accept that we're not in control, that God is in control, and lean on him, like a child would lean on a parent, and you find that you'd get a lot more calm, a lot more peace within you, and things will start to come your way a little bit more. So that verse that came from and I forget the name, in the 1800s, a gentleman, he had an orphanage, and he found the Lord. He gave up his job, and he had a wife, a couple of kids, and they brought a few kids into their home. And for some reason, he found the light of God, and he literally did what Jesus tells us to do, or God tells us to do, to give up all your material things. And he would just pray. And this is like a miracle. People would just come up to his door and give him food, give him support. And he grew this orphanage to like 400, 500 kids.
Wow.
In England. He did it for years, and he never had a job. All he did was pray. He didn't even ask for anything. And without any social media back then, but just going through and trusting in the Lord, people would come up and say, hey, I have this new school building that's up for sale. Maybe I can donate that to you. And then they were running out of food. And then the next day, this baker comes and, hey, I have all this extra bread. And they say throughout his life, he collected the equivalent of like $150 million.
Wow.
And without doing anything but just praying and trusting in the Lord, and being in the right place, having a good heart, and not doing this because of any conditions or anything. So
no, I love that. I think that's really true. And, lean not on our understanding, trust on the Lord, and surrender. I think just to, bring this full circle, all this fear and all this anxiety, like you mentioned, it really comes from the feeling of not being in control. And so when we learn to completely surrender, when it is even something like getting on a stage or talking in front of people, knowing if we just pray, Lord, please guide my thoughts, my words, and my actions, and asking him to guide everything we do instead of being the one that's in control, and just ask him to help us surrender our fears and anxieties to him. I think that's when the true authenticity and the true beauty comes into our lives and into everything we do. So thank you so much for sharing. And that story is also so wonderful because we can just lean on God. That's all that we really need to do. We don't need anything else. We truly don't. And I know the world doesn't teach you that. The world teaches you that you need all these things to be happy. But no, we just need the love of the Lord, and we just need him in our lives, and we need community with others. So thank you so much for sharing. And just to wrap up, Peter, I just want to say thank you so much for having us, but I want everyone here to be able to get in touch with you, and whether it's learning more about your public speaking journey and how they can maybe connect with the coaches you've been coached by. I just want people to be able to connect with you and learn more about you. So how can people get involved with you and meet you and talk to you?
Sure. Go to ContrerasSpeaks.com. That's CONTRERAS speaks.com. Peter at ContrerasSpeaks.com is the email. And I've got the rest of my social media attached to that. So happy to help. I'd like to talk to kids, to adults, to anyone that wants to hear a motivational speech or any lessons learned that you want to share with your teams or with yourself. Some coaching. This coaching, really get yourself coaching. I think that's the other number one advice I would give you is don't wait. Time is precious. I could have had this a while, years ago, but took it in 2016, this speaking coaching, and it's been great. So happy to
Cool.
thank you. Thanks, Grace, for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And so basically, if anyone's looking for an amazing speaker to come to their event, Peter's your guy. So that's just what I hear. So I'll put all of the things that he just mentioned, his email and his website, in the show notes, along with some of the resources that he mentioned. But yeah, I just want to thank all of you guys for tuning in today. And I just ask that you all say a prayer today, and just ask the Lord to guide your thoughts, your words, and your actions, and ask him to just come into your heart, because he loves you and we love you, and we're so thankful for you guys listening into our podcast, and we will see you next time.
Thanks.